And we are live. Welcome everybody to live stream here on Monday night. I'm the Guitar Hack, and as a special guest, I have. And we are live. Oh, welcome everybody to. That was a rookie mistake. And anyways, and I've got a special guest here. I've got Johnny Beane on, and we're gonna have a little chat with Johnny here.
Yeah. Hello.
Gonna find out, get some information here, find out about Johnny's musical beginnings and all that stuff. And if anybody has any questions, you can pop into the chat and ask away. Let me just, we had a few people here that were waiting for us, Johnny. So I'm just gonna do a little roll call here. GTV in the house, how are you? We got EJ's Guitars, Scotty G, Mr. BHB, aka Bruce, I think. Who else we got? We got Gussie Wells. Mr. Ben Coombs is in the house. Marco's Images, how are you? Dave R's Guitars, how's it going? R2R3, how are you? So we got a few people in the house, which is very cool. Thanks everybody for showing up. Appreciate it. Yeah, so we got Johnny Beane in the house. So Johnny, I was saying to you earlier, so I've only really been watching your channel the last couple of months. Ben Coombs sort of turned me on to your channel, and so I don't really know much. I mean, other than the fact that you're a giggy musician, and of course the Eddie Van Halen fascination that many of us have. But what I like to know is like how you got started, what got you playing music in the first place, what your influences are, how old you were, that sort of thing. If you wouldn't mind filling us in. Man,
that's a lot of questions.
Yeah, when did you start playing music? How's that? We'll start with that.
Let's see. Sorry, I got the chat box going. What was the first one? What got me into music?
Yeah, what got you into music? Yeah, what was
I would say the real answer is as a composer by the name of Arthur Fiedler.
Okay.
You know who that is?
Arthur Fiedler. It rings a bell. I've heard the name.
He was the conductor of the Boston Pops.
That's it, because they put out a record, and I remember the advertisement for it. This is way back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my introduction to music.
Wow.
Was classical music.
How old were you when you were listening to Arthur Fiedler's?
Oh, 3, 3, 4,
you can
2, 1,
1,
0.
Darkness.
I wasn't even around yet, and I was digging it.
That's
hey,
cool.
Old Man Dan, what's up, dude?
Old Man Dan's in the house.
Yeah. Sorry, my lighting is just awful, you guys. That's what happens.
It's you got the natural light. Looks pretty cool. Got the natural light. So okay, so Arthur Fiedler, okay, and then when did you start? Was the guitar the first thing that you picked up, or did you play something previous to that?
The first instrument I played was the tennis racket.
Okay.
That was the first thing. Actually, no, it wasn't even that. It was, I don't know. Are you a Star Wars nerd?
Probably not much. I do like Star Wars. I don't know if I categorize myself. I don't think I qualify as a nerd. I don't know enough about the nuances, let's say.
Okay. Well, I don't either. But I had all the toys, right?
Okay.
And there was a spaceship that, if you guys remember the movie Return of the Jedi, at the very end of the movie, there's this like spaceship. It has a little cockpit. Can I say that on here? And then it has like the long body.
Yeah.
It goes this way. I think it was called like a B something, or I can't remember what it was called. But anyway, that toy made the perfect guitar.
As a shape.
Messing around. The shape. Yeah. So that was my first instrument, was a Star Wars spaceship.
Were you playing Smoke on the Water on that thing?
Yeah. Well, actually, I didn't even know about that till later.
That's everybody's first song.
Yeah.
I just wanted to welcome a few more people just popped in. Jason Wade, how are you? Clive 54, Super Fuzz. Welcome, folks. Come on in, pull up a chair. We got Johnny Beane in the house, talking some music. Okay, so all right, so so the first guitar that you picked up, what was the first guitar that you and how old were you when you started playing?
Oh man, first guitar was probably an acoustic. Probably.
Okay.
I mean, it had to have been. I really don't remember. But the first electric guitar that I had was it was a Strat, and it was called a Series 10.
Okay.
That was the name. The company was something started with a B, I think. Bentley or Beatley or
okay,
something like that. It was called the Series 10. And that was my very first guitar. It was red, had a white pick guard. And then I remember the store. I was taking lessons from this local store at like a shopping center.
You took lessons right away. That's good.
It was like, yeah, it was called a crash course in the electric guitar.
Uh-huh.
And it was me, the class. It was a teacher, guitar teacher, and then there was probably 10 students. Probably.
Okay.
And actually, I do have a photograph somewhere of one of the classes because the local newspaper was doing a story on guitar and rock guitar, and they mentioned Eddie in the story. I remember, but a photographer came down and interviewed my guitar teacher.
Okay, cool.
Okay. And so I had my picture in the paper, holding the guitar, and I couldn't even play yet. You know. Actually, I've been featured in the newspaper, in an actual newspaper, probably at least twice that I can think of where I'm holding a guitar.
That's pretty impressive, actually. Mitch Heyman is in the house. How are you, Mitch? So,
hey, Mitch.
How old were you at that point when you started taking the lessons, or did you mention that already?
I was 12, going on 13.
Okay, yeah.
When I started lessons.
Okay, and that was like a student guitar that they, you know, like a package deal. Here's a guitar, take lessons, that kind of thing.
Rent to own, rent to own, where you're paying for the lessons, but you're also paying for a guitar and an amp at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it was like a red Strat kind of thing. But I remember walking into the store one day and seeing a Sunburst guitar. A Sunburst Fender Squire Bullet is what it was.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I want that one. You know, I like that one. So I traded. I was able to trade the guitars. And I think I got the better deal because the guitar that I ended up getting, I think, is worth more now than the other one was. The other one's not really, it's not a real brand name, but Fender is, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if it's a Squire, it's not a Squire like you think Squire these days. You know, this was a Squire made in Japan, the one that I had.
Wow.
I actually still have. I still have it. It's just it's parts.
Right.
The body is on the floor in the corner over there, and the neck is actually on another guitar sitting right here.
Oh, right. That's cool. You really got some use out of it then.
Yeah. And I'm thinking I'm going to put it back to its original, how it was, you know, because I painted it, you know, over the years. I spray painted it. You know, I think I did an Eddie Van Halen thing to it at one point, you know, white with black stripes, and then sanded it down again, painted it, you know, black.
Yeah.
You know, painted it. I think blue was another color. So it's back to being Sunburst, but you look like around the edges and you see some blue, you see some black, you see some white. You know?
Right.
But,
so did you, like, when did you start with or when did you start playing in bands and playing with other people? When did that begin?
Oh, right away.
Oh, wow.
Right away. The first time I played on stage, I'd only been playing for a week. I didn't even have a guitar strap. I remember I was on the stage sitting in a chair because I didn't have a strap.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
What were you playing after a week of lessons?
It was probably Smoke on the Water is what it probably was. You know?
Everybody's first song. Yeah.
But I couldn't even play a power chord at that time. So I'm just doing like the one finger.
The single note, yeah.
I'm just doing from the G to the F over and over. You know?
Probably felt real good though, didn't it?
Oh, but I was on stage.
Exactly.
On stage.
Yeah.
And then for that summer, you know, I'm terrible in school. You know, I had to go to summer school.
Mm-hmm.
And I end up taking my guitar and my amp to summer school. And I end up getting out of summer school by playing guitar for all the different classes. Every day, going from room to room, playing Smoke on the Water, playing No Sleep Till Brooklyn, maybe. You know, dun 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 dun, right? And then I had a kid singing. There was a kid that was probably a couple years younger than me. He was the singer. We didn't have a microphone, but we had walkie-talkies. So we'd have my amp, which I still have, actually. It's sitting right here. Actually, it's a little crate amp. I had my amp. We had a walkie-talkie sitting on top of the amp. The kid would sing through the walkie-talkie. And then I'd be playing the guitar, and and this is in summer school for all these different classes. You know?
Wow, that's hilarious.
I remember that. Man, if there was only Instagram back then, man, you know?
Yeah, you guys are rocking. That is funny, man. That is really funny. Zach Thong's in the house. Mark Dillon, how are you? Guitar Girl, how are you? How's everybody doing? That's great. That's great. We got 19 people watching. Very good. Very cool.
Awesome.
Wow. So you were like in a band gigging immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Newspaper coverage, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. I was in probably 2 bands.
Wow.
In 2 bands, playing the same songs in both bands, different people.
Yeah, comparing notes. Well, the other band would do it this way, you know.
Yeah. Well, actually, I remember I started doing this group guitar lesson class with this other kid.
Right.
We both signed up at the same time. And then the other kid got, what do you call it? Competitive. Maybe that's what it was. Got competitive on me. And he's like, you know, screw you, man. I'm joining another band, you know.
I'm heading for the big time.
Yeah. So we were never friends after that. I've never seen him. Never seen him since.
Wow. Wow.
And he probably doesn't play guitar at all anymore. Who knows? He could be dead. You know, I have no idea.
Yeah. It's funny, like that you mentioned that, because when I first started playing, there was a bunch of kids that were taking lessons, and they were all into it, and I was the only one that wasn't taking lessons. And I can pretty much guarantee you that I'm the only one who still plays. You know, so it's it's like, you know, they all want to be competitive and all of this, and then it's a fad, right? You know, for some, right? Not, you know,
right.
But
right.
Yeah.
So,
so okay. All right. So when did you?
Did I say could be dead? Oh, I meant. No, I'm kidding. No, truthfully, I don't know where the guy is. I haven't.
No harm on anyone.
No, I don't. I don't wish harm on anybody. But it always becomes a competition with the other person.
Yeah,
that's how it's been my whole life.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, so, it's to the greater heights, right?
Yeah.
So, when did you decide that, you know what, this is what I want to do? When did that happen?
Play the guitar, or just music in general?
Yeah, music in general. Yeah.
Music in general. It was ever since I was listening to those Arthur Fiedler Boston Pops records, you know, when I was 3 years old. I always knew music was, that's what I always liked. And the truth is, it was always classical music. That was always my favorite.
Right.
You know, so even to this day, even though I play the guitar, you know, most of the music I listen to doesn't even have guitar in it most of the time.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's weird.
So when did so how old were you, and what was your first sort of real music job? Like, when did you go pro? When did what was your first gig, so to
Well,
speak?
I don't know if that's happened, but um,
Oh,
let's,
you're
let's
still
see.
doing it, right?
Let's
It
see.
has
Oh, it's never ending. It's never stops. Never stops. Let's see. I was in the band after I'd been playing for a week, and then I was in another band when I was 14.
Hey, Terry.
I remember. Hey, Terry. Hey, you guys. Zach, Mitch, Ben, Gussie, GTV, EJ. What was the question? When let's see, I was in a band when I was 14. We we thought we were a rock band, but I think we were rock, but we had the energy of like punk. So
Okay.
so I think I was like a punk rock guitar player and I didn't even know it.
Mm.
I had no idea. um let's see. And then yeah, just in a bunch of bands, growing up.
Yeah.
And then I would say, when was this? I would say about 20 years ago. Yeah. Wait, let me think. About 20 years ago, I get a call. Actually, I had just jumped online on the internet,
20 years.
20 years ago,
Wow.
and and I never left. I'm still here, you guys, obviously. But actually, I was taking a computer class, is what I was doing 20 years ago. That's how I got into computers. That's how I got into all the stuff that I do on the internet now.
Right.
And I put an ad out looking for musicians, looking for a band. And I didn't get an email because I didn't even have an email address yet. I got a call. I woke up one morning and I get this phone call from this guy, this singer. And he's like, "Hey, you don't know me, but my name is so and so, and I'm calling you from Miami, Florida." And I was living here in California,
Right.
And he's like, "Well, we're looking for a guitar player, and just based on your influences, because remember, this is before I had a website.
Yeah.
This is before you could Google my name and stuff would pop up.
Right.
Right. I don't mean it like that, but you know what I mean, though.
Right? Yeah. It's just 20 years ago. Yeah, 20 years ago.
It's like now type in my name and there's all this stuff there.
Yeah.
But back then there was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So this band took a chance on flying me out to audition for them.
Wow.
Just off the fact that, hey, you like the Andy Summers, you like Eddie Van Halen, you like who else would have been in that? I don't know. But, whatever I liked. And they thought, send us a tape. And this is back, cassettes. This is before CDRs? Actually, no, CDRs had been out for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I had just done a session at a studio for some of my original music. This would have been the previous year. This would have been 1997.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So recorded some stuff, and maybe I sent them a CD. Maybe actually, that's probably what I did. I probably burned. I somehow burned a couple CDs. I remember this is before I had a computer or any of that. And sent them a CD, and they got it, and they're like, "Yeah, you can play. You can play. You like these certain musicians? Fly out here." Oh, and by the way, we're working with this guy named Desmond Child.
There's the Desmond Child.
And I knew his name.
Yeah.
Because I had the Bon Jovi records, I had the Aerosmith records.
Right.
And so I'd see his name on those records, but I didn't know what the guy looked like.
Yeah.
This is back when you just knew the name.
Right.
So I ended up talking to this guy on the phone. He's telling me, "Hey, this is Desmond, would you like to come out and first of all send us a tape?" And actually for a while I didn't believe it was him.
Well, yeah. I mean, Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't send them a tape at first. And they kept calling me saying, "Hey, where's your tape?
Mm-hmm.
Send us a tape."
I don't
So
know if you're real.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't
Yeah.
know if you're real.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, the only internet I had was at school, this class I was taking.
Right.
So I would, when I'd go to school, I would, uh, maybe this is before Google. This goes back a while, you guys. um, I would probably look him up. Desmond ended up faxing over, actually. Fax. He faxed over like his whole rap sheet,
Right.
basically, of like every song, every album. And you would look through the thing and it's like, wow.
Encyclopedia.
It's like every song that there's ever been on the radio is on this list.
Pretty much.
Basically.
Yeah, like you mentioned Desmond briefly on your show the other day, and my ears perked up because, as most people know that have seen me, I'm a huge Kiss fan, and Desmond Child, 1979, I Was Made for Loving You. That was Desmond Child, and he was in a band called Desmond Child and Rouge.
Yeah,
and in the 70s, and Paul Stanley from Kiss was a huge fan of that band, and then he was sort of and you could correct me on this, but as far as I know, he was sort of like the first guy to kind of, get together with Desmond Child and write songs. And then, Bon Jovi was opening for Kiss in the early 80s, and it was Paul Stanley that introduced Desmond Child to Bon Jovi, and then Slippery When Wet came from that. So, yeah. So it's when you mentioned Desmond Child, like that, there's a huge Kiss connection there.
Yeah. And I hate to say it, I was never a fan of Kiss.
That's okay.
Although I've seen them. I saw them in 1990.
Yeah.
It was Kiss, Winger, and Vixen.
Yeah.
And the reason I went was for Winger. I hate to say that too, but
that's all right. Hey, Reb Beach is a great guitar player.
Yeah.
I go just see Reb Beach.
Yeah. And they were doing a signing at a record store earlier that day. So, I went. I'd go to all the different signings,
Yeah.
And so I got to meet them, got to meet the whole band. And I remember giving Reb, I had my own custom. See, I've got my own picks now with my name on them and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But at the time, I had Fender mediums, and I would take, those little foil stars, those packs of like gold, red, green.
Yeah.
Those little stars.
Right.
I would put stars on these picks and basically just say, hey, these are my picks. So I remember giving Reb Beach a couple of those.
Right.
And he's like, wow, cool, So I ended up meeting them that day, and then ended up, there was still tickets left. So I went to the show with some friends.
Yeah.
And it would have been Kiss was probably the headliner, I would think.
In 1990?
In 1990.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Although Winger was big. Winger was big too.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it would have been Vixen, Winger, and then Kiss.
Yeah, I think that was the Revenge tour. Do you remember? Did they have a Statue of Liberty on stage? Kiss?
I don't remember. I remember thinking it was a Winger tour. I never even thought of it as even being a Kiss tour.
Yeah.
Although it probably was.
Yeah.
It probably was.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I saw Kiss in 1990, and then I saw them in 96.
Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. That was the Hits tour. That would have been the Sphinx on the stage. Do you remember a Sphinx?
I don't know.
Yeah, because if Kiss did the full show, it would have been the Sphinx. That would have been with Eric Carr still on the drums.
Yeah.
Just before he passed away.
Yep. I remember his solo, his drum solo, and it was basically doing that. You know? It was like beating my chest, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And then it was just a little while later. It was
that was his last tour before he passed away. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, let's see. We got BV Ninja in the house. David Ennis.
Hey, David.
I hope I'm not missing anyone.
Super Fuzz.
Super Fuzz, yes. Terry's in. Mr. BHB.
BB Ninja.
Yeah, got all the regulars in here. Jason Wade.
Dave Byron. I see Dave Byron.
You see Dave? I haven't seen Dave Byron. Just scrolling through. I got the chat here on my phone. It's just easier for me. Oh, there he is, Dave Byron. How are you, Dave? Rockin' Dave Byron. Guitar Hack, great questions. Honestly, knew nothing about Johnny outside of tacos, chickens, and EVH.
Yeah, there's a little more there. Just a little bit.
Yeah. They should call this Johnny Beane Revealed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I was telling you right before we started, you know, I do this kind of thing almost every day, you know, on my own channel. Right. But it's not like I'm sitting there, you know, talking about myself just nonstop, you know, yeah. And so it's a little different. It's different if someone else is asking me, yeah, you know, stuff.
Well, you know, again, I'm relatively new to this whole thing, and I've been, you know, watching a lot of people's shows and stuff. But for me, the cool thing is to, you know, find out where everybody's kind of coming from musically and whatever. Because the whole thing with my channel is, you know, I just want everybody to just share information and share what they know, experiences and this and that, you know, doesn't, regardless of, I don't care if you can play like Yngwie or if you can play whatever, that doesn't matter. It's just, you know, it's, for me, it's always interesting to find out the backgrounds of people and what their experiences are musically, what got them in and that. So I started doing these Monday things. So, you know, you're the third one I've done. I did one with Ben last week, and I did one with EJ 2 weeks ago, and I have, and he's in the chat, so I'm going to mention him. I'm trying to find a day that's going to work for both myself and Dave Byron, because there's another brain I want to pick. So I should be having Dave Byron on one of these as soon as we can figure out a time. Sean Zimmerman in the house.
Hey, Sean.
How are you? All right, so I think we left off. You got that fax from Desmond Child, and it was basically a whole shopping list of everything that was on the radio. And what happened from there?
Yeah, and so after I got that, I'm like, okay, I'll send you a tape, I guess. You know?
Yeah.
So I finally, because I remember Desmond calling me one night. He called me and he said, "Hey, where's your tape?" He's like, you're not showing, what was it the term? He's like, you're not going to show your cards or something like that.
Right.
And, you know, again, there was no proof of who I was actually talking to. You know, I mean, anybody could have faxed me that list out of a book or something.
Yeah, you weren't sold yet.
You know.
Yeah.
So finally they sent me a plane ticket, and so I took a chance and flew from California to Florida. I flew across the country to meet up with these guys that had been calling me on the phone,
right,
telling me to come out.
Well, you must have had some they really wanted, Johnny, because that's a hell of a lot of effort. I mean, this is Desmond Child we're talking about. Like, you know, I mean, I'm sure he had a lot of other people that he could have just, you know, like down the road, you know, never mind across country, you know. So he must have really had some he wanted. So
yeah. Well, actually, they were working with somebody at the time.
Oh,
actually, they were working with a guitarist by the name of Eric Bazillion, right? Oh. Eric, is it Bazillion? And anyway, he was one of the guys in this band called the Hooters. If you remember the Hooters in the 80s, they had a song called "And They Danced." Do you remember that song?
I remember the name of the band.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. They were around, what was that, like early 90s?
Oh, earlier than that, 80s.
80s?
80s. Mid 80s was.
Oh, okay.
Was I think they had a song called Johnny something or other, and then there was a song called and They Danced. Maybe we'll put that in the Discord, that video, you know.
Sure.
Anyway, they were working with him,
right,
and he was writing the guitar parts, you know, for the songs. And I think he was recording with them as well. But he was a bit older, you know, than the rest of the band. and they wanted somebody more their age, I guess.
Okay, so they were looking not just to use you for recording purposes; they wanted to make you a permanent member of the band. And what was the name of this band? What was the project?
Yeah. Can I? This will be a little tricky.
No, go ahead.
I've never ever publicly said the name of the band.
Oh, okay.
I've never said it.
You
I don't even know if they're even still around anymore. They actually got pretty popular, actually, after I left. But if you go to my website, which is johnnybeane.com, the name of the band is in my bio there.
Okay.
So
for anybody interested, you can check it out on Johnny's site.
Yeah. That's just kind of a thing. I've never said the name publicly. I don't think.
Okay. Well, like I said, if there's anything you don't want to divulge, I mean, you just kind of gave it away anyways. But
well, I'm just trying to get traffic to my site. That's
Well, you know what? Cliffhangers like that will do it. Jimmy T is in the house. How are you, Jimmy? Yeah.
Hey, Jimmy.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, but I will say the band after I left, what happened was we were see, there we go. I'm getting visitors to my site now. I see it. Don't leave the show. Stay on here. Open up another browser. Go over to johnnybeane.com. Yeah. Scroll all the way down through the bio, and you'll see the name of the band.
See the name of the band. Yeah.
And if the band is still around, the link will go to their site. I haven't been to their site in years. From what I've heard, the guitar player that was in the band after me isn't with them anymore.
Oh.
You know the funny thing. Here's something that was actually kind of weird. My main guitar when I was in this band in Florida was the Ernie Ball Music Man EVH.
Wow.
That was my main guitar at the time. Okay. The guy that joins the band after me ends up getting an endorsement with the EVH. You know? And so I would go to NAMM and I would see him on the posters for EVH gear.
Oh,
and
man.
And I'd see the name of the band. I'd be like, oh, I was in that band.
Me.
You know? Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Scott Nickerson is in the house.
Hey, Scott.
Suave Trainwreck is in the house. How are you, gentlemen?
Yo.
Thanks for popping in. So we've got 25 people watching right now. So awesome. I'm assuming, or I don't know, but even though that didn't pan out, did your relationship with Desmond Child, did that continue? Like, was he able to help you getting into some other things after that?
Sort of. It was kind of weird, I guess. It was kind of strange for years. I didn't talk to him for years and years and years. And then I would say, what year is this? 2018. I would say maybe 5 years ago. No, actually longer than that. In 2005, we actually ran into each other.
Oh, okay.
And he introduced me to his kids. He had these 2 sons. They were babies at the time. You know, now they're probably, if they're babies in 2005, what would they be now?
13? 13, 14?
Probably something like that. Yeah, because last time I saw Desmond was, I would say, probably like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Because they actually made a documentary about him and his family.
Oh,
I don't know if you've ever seen it. Yeah, there's a documentary about him and his kids and everything.
Was it based around his music? Like, I'm wondering why his family was a part of it. So it wasn't just about his music career then.
It was documenting. It was basically documentary. Well, it was a documentary, is what it was. It was documenting him and his partner, which I don't know if they might be married now. Actually, they're married, and they've got two sons that they had. What do you call it? Where you have somebody else have the kid.
A surrogate.
Yeah, they had a surrogate. And so there's an actual film about this.
Oh, wow.
I want to say, what was it called? I could, let me look. I can look it up. Actually, if you guys go to okay, Google my name. Okay, if you Google me, you'll go to I've got a WordPress page, which I used to use for my actual website. I don't do that anymore. But if you go to my WordPress, go to like the blog section, and you'll see a picture of me and Desmond together, and you'll see the name of the movie and everything. Because I went to I saw the movie in a theater with Desmond.
Oh, cool!
Out in San Francisco.
Right.
But anyway, so that was the last time I saw him. It was about 5 years ago, and that's when I met his kids. And I remember him telling his kids that I was a great guitarist.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
You know.
So the burning question then is, why did you leave that band, and why? What?
Basically, things just got kind of, I guess, difficult between the band and him, I think.
Oh, okay.
Well, the rest of not me. I had no problem with him. I had no problem with the band, with anything. But things just got things happen.
Right.
You know, things happen. So the band ended up parting ways with Desmond, and the band moved to New York. Well, the singer and the drummer moved to New York. They restarted the band.
Right.
The bass player, who was actually working for Desmond as an engineer at the time, I think he just quit the band but continued working for Desmond, I think.
Okay.
And then I ended up moving back here.
Right.
You know, but at the time when I was there, actually, I lived in Desmond's house. He had two houses. He had his main house, which was a huge, you know, complex.
Right.
And then he had a house just down the street that he was building a recording studio into, a second studio.
Right.
And I was living in one of the rooms of that house. So I would wake.
You must have met some celebrity, somebody hanging out with Desmond.
I'd wake up every morning to who knows, knocking on the door. You know.
Oh wow.
All the time. I if you remember Ricky Martin.
Yeah.
Ricky Martin.
Yeah.
I was there. I was there when they were writing "Livin' La Vida Loca." If you guys remember that song.
Of course.
So I remember letting Ricky into the house.
Yeah.
And then he goes in the studio, and that's when they were writing and recording that song.
Wow.
You know.
Wow. Thrash Metal is in the house. How are you, Thrash?
Hey.
Wow, that's cool. Did you meet any of the Bon Jovi people?
I didn't meet any of the band. I did meet his brother. I want to say he had a brother named Mike or something. I don't know. I met his mom. I met I met John Bon Jovi's mother. I remember that.
Wow.
I remember that. She Desmond took us to meet her at a studio. Mm-hmm. And we're in the room together, and we knew who she was because he told us.
Yeah.
But she's like, you know who I am? I'm John Bon Jovi's mother. You know? And she just starts telling us stories. She called him Johnny, little Johnny.
Little Johnny.
And since my name's Johnny,
uh-huh,
she'd be telling stories about him, but looking at me. You know? And so she was telling a story about how he got in trouble. She's looking straight at me, yelling at me. You know, Johnny, blah, 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 you know? Yeah. And I'm like, what?
What I do?
So that was actually kind of weird. Yeah. You know, that was kind of weird, but cool at the same time, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Who else? I met, I can't even, different, I think Amanda Marshall, a singer, another singer.
Oh, I remember Amanda Marshall.
Yeah, I think she's Canadian, maybe.
I'm not sure.
I remember meeting her at Desmond's house, and I knew who she was because of I used to collect a lot of records and stuff, and I remember seeing her albums all the time.
She had a hit song. She had a hit song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was probably with Desmond. It was probably a Desmond song.
There you go. Yeah,
but she was there. She was there at his house. You know?
I remember Amanda Marshall.
I couldn't even tell you. I met the guy. Remember the Saturday Night Live skit with Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan and they're dancing. The two guys in the clubs.
Oh,
there was a movie on it.
There was
a movie. Yeah, yeah. The guy in Saturday Night Live, the song that they use.
Yeah.
The lyric was "What is love" or something.
Yeah.
I met him. He was there. He was there at Desmond's house one time.
I can't remember who sang that song. What is it? You don't hurt me.
Yeah.
No more.
Yep.
Wow, I'm sure somebody knows in the chat. Night at the Roxbury was the movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Mr. BH got that right away.
And
what was the name of that? The guy who sang that song?
I don't know, but I do remember one of Desmond's. I think she would have been like a secretary or something, because he had an office at his house. Yeah. Okay. There was a newer secretary who started working there, and for some reason, we started hanging out. You know. Yeah. And I mean, not like hanging out like all the time, but like she would talk to me. Like I'd come into the studio and she would like talk to me and stuff, or I'd come in the morning and I'd be eating breakfast and she'd come over and talk to me and stuff. I remember she was on a computer one time sitting there next to me, and she's like, "Hey, Johnny, do you want Heather Locklear's phone number? You know, Heather Locklear, right? Locklear." Yeah. She's like, "Hey, do you want her phone number? It's right here." She had like found it.
Wow.
And I'm like, no, you know.
Yeah, she was dating Richie.
Yeah.
At one point.
Oh, like Tommy Lee or something.
Yeah, but
right.
Yeah, she was with Tommy. Didn't Tommy Lee married her for like a year or something?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, he was married to her first. That was his first wife. And it lasted a year. Yeah. I remember. I read the book. I read The Dirt, and it's in there. Richie Sambora. Then, I don't know if she was with Richie Sambora right after Tommy Lee. I don't know how that all kind of played out. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was a circus, man. It was every day, you know. I would say I did more, you know. I was basically I was there for I was there from January 1998. I was there from January to September. So however many months.
That's all, yeah, 10 months.
7 months. Yeah, whatever. And I would say every day was like, I did more every day than a lot of people ever, you know. Let me just say, I saw so much stuff and learned. I learned so much stuff about the studio, recording, writing.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, that was basically you were like in the studio every day? You were recording every day?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we were signed. We were signed to Desmond's label, which in turn was going to be because see this happened. See, this is where everything is so weird. This happened right when Universal Music took over.
Yeah,
I would say. You know, you guys know Universal.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it was right after that everything just went to hell. You know, you know, the music business was changing and then just dissolved.
Well,
right after that. Right after that. Yeah.
All the file sharing stuff happened after that.
Yep. But because of all that, we were assigned to Desmond's label, which was called Destined Entertainment. Mm-hmm. And then I think we were going to be signed to Universal. Mm-hmm. So I guess you can kind of say I was signed to a major label at one point. You know? Right. But even though nothing came of it, I learned so much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's a long time to be around that, right?
Yeah.
To be around in that environment. You're going to soak up a lot of it, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, you know, I mean, it's been 20 years, but whenever I go into a studio, whenever I do this or that, I I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's when I first learned about Pro Tools, you know.
Mm.
Before that, it was all tape.
So Pro Tools was already being used 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was being used, and I saw all the tricks. I saw how songs get made,
Mm-hmm.
Hanging out with engineers, hanging out with these guys, listening to the radio, and they'll be like, "Oh, did you hear that? That was a splice. Oh, did you hear that? That was when you have a professional engineer, they can hear a song on the radio and hear every cut.
Wow.
And
crazy.
A lot of the stuff you hear on the radio is actually none of it is one take. None of it is even 100 takes. I mean, you can take like, let's say, let me just say something. EJ's guitars, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If I was to say EJ's guitars within a song, on a hit song on the radio, each syllable of EJ's guitars could be taken from 20 different takes. E, J, day, Z. That could be from 5 different takes. They splice them all together, make the most perfect performance. Mm-hmm. So that's why when you're hearing singing on most pop songs, most Britney Spears, all that stuff, none of it, actually, it's not real. Believe it or not, it's not real at all. Even though it is her singing, she didn't actually sing that. You know?
Yeah. That was 100 performances. And
that was something I learned. That was something I learned. And I tell people this stuff. And if they're in the business, if they know, they're like, yeah. If they don't, they're like, shut up. You know? You're crazy.
I have very limited recording experience, but the last one I did was with somebody using Pro Tools. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of similar to what you're saying. If I had a little touch of feedback on one take, but I didn't have it on another, he would take the feedback from the one take and tack it onto the other one. Or if the vibrato was slightly better on one, he would take that and just tack it on. And, mm-hmm. Just things like that, just like literally taking chunks and bits.
Yeah, and it doesn't just apply to vocals. It applies to guitar solos.
Well, guitar solos, that was too, yeah.
There was guys, some of the top guys that we all know, their guitar solos are all, it's called comping. It's called comped. Each, they could do 20 takes and put together the most perfect performance.
Yeah.
And then they have to go, in some cases, they didn't even actually play what you're hearing. The notes are mixed up. It's like mixing up like the alphabet. And then it's like mixing up a Rubik's Cube and then putting it back together kind of thing, or like random this and that. So a lot of the stuff, not all the time, but some of the time is stuff that's created in the studio, like they play like 5 different things. And then the producer will come in and say, I like the bend from this take. I like this note better here. I like this here. That's Desmond's job. That's something Desmond does.
Right.
I like this better. I like, let's try putting this with that. Meaning there's somebody sitting at a computer with a mouse clicking and dragging all this stuff together.
Yeah, exactly.
And then at the end, you hear like this amazing solo, and the artist is like, okay, now I have to learn that.
Yeah.
I didn't actually, that wasn't what I played.
Yeah, they got to reproduce it live. That's where the real,
yeah, and I was doing all that too when I was there. I was recording. Desmond would be sitting there, telling me stories because he, like 2 years prior, he had worked with Eddie Van Halen.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
And yeah, he was the one that, I don't know if you know the whole thing about Mitch Malloy and Van Halen and that whole thing, but Desmond was the one that actually suggested Mitch to them. Because he was at 5150 at the studio working with Eddie, and they had watched a video of Mitch Malloy, and Desmond's like, you guys have to try him out. And so anyway, yeah, there's a whole thing on that. But so when I'm in the studio recording, Desmond would tell me stories about working with Eddie. And Eddie, he does this, does that, getting me inspired,
Yeah.
Like, wow, cool, you know? Um, you know, so yeah, it was, yeah.
I'm sure you had a lot of cool Eddie stories.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, just stories in general, you
Oh,
know, and
yeah,
then,
he's been around everybody. I mean,
mm-hmm.
I just wanted to. I got Amanda Coombs in the house. Hello, Amanda. How are you?
Hey, Amanda.
Uh, I want. I just hope I'm not. Hope I'm not missing anyone. BV Ninja. BV Ninja says Pro Tools came out in 1984. It was then called Sound Designer. I only know because I use Pro Tools. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Once I discovered Pro Tools, you know, there was no turning back. And so once I got my own system going, which I still use to this day, you guys
yeah,
can't see it, you know, but it's in there. Um, that's how I learned how to do all that stuff too. So
yeah.
all my recordings, all my demos have all been you know, virtual virtual stuff or whatever.
Well, yeah. Like again, I've got. I mean, I've only been in the recording studio maybe 3 or 4 times in my life, but the last time I was in was just a couple of years ago, and it was Pro Tools, and I was just helping somebody out with lead stuff. Anyways, it was all plugins, no amps, all plugins in Pro
Mm-hmm.
Tools,
Mm-hmm.
and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
So all I needed to all I brought was literally my, of course, a Les Paul and my cable, and that was it. That was it. You
Yeah.
know, that's how they
Yeah.
did it. And
Yeah.
it's cheaper. And it's cheap. And the guy, we started off in an actual recording studio, like a real recording studio, where the drums get, that takes forever to mic the drums and get a good sound and all that kind of stuff. And bed tracks and all that kind of, or not, sorry, bed tracks, scratch tracks, and all that kind
Mm-hmm.
of stuff. But then all the finishing, like for the lead part and stuff, literally, I'm in the guy's house in his room. He's got Pro Tools loaded on his computer, and I'm just doing plugins and playing solos until I get, and then it was just chop it up, put the beginning of this, the end of that, the vibrato off of this, the whatever, pinch harmonic off of that, slap it all together. There you go. That's
Mm-hmm.
how it's done. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm. And
yeah,
then
it's, the thing is, I mean, it's the trick is to reproduce. Now, I never had to because it was for somebody else, but if I was a real touring recording player, to be able to reproduce that's where the real challenge comes in.
right.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Relearning.
yeah, all that magic studio trickery, you're on your own now, and it's just you and that amp.
And I mean that can be part of the problem is you go into the studio and the thing is you're you have unlimited everything. You
Yeah,
can do anything you want in the studio.
literally.
Anything. You
Yeah,
can make the most amazing piece of music, song, recording. Let's just say recording, whatever it
yeah.
is. You know? And then once you're done, yeah, because I record my own stuff. I write my own stuff and I do some stuff. It could have like 5 guitars in it.
Mhm.
And to reproduce that, I'd have to go get 4 of the guitar players. you know? Um, so it's yeah, it can be tricky. You just I think keep it simple, as far as your recordings. And that's kind of the trend these days is to keep it simple, you know.
It's
But
easy to get carried away, right? Because you've got all these tools at your disposal. When do you know when to stop? When do you know when it's done?
yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, that's part of it too, is you can go overboard with the effects, with,
Yeah.
with the all the parts, whatever. Um but also it depends though on your goal, like what you're going to do with it. I mean, if you just want to make a guitar record with 20 guitars on it, that's fine.
Mm.
It sounds amazing, this is cool. If you don't want to ever play it live, you don't ever have to. If you do, either you got to figure it out all in one guitar,
Come up with
or
yeah.
get somebody else to play as well.
I just wanted to welcome 9 Fathoms, Todd Flowers. Who else we got? I think I've got mentioned everyone else. If I haven't mentioned you, I apologize. I'm just kind of looking down all the time because I've got the chat going on my phone here. And if we haven't, you know what? It's my fault. I haven't really been looking at questions. But if you have any questions, I'll start try to pick out some questions now. Hey, 9 Fathoms. 9 Fathoms says hello. Oh, Gussie has a question for you, Johnny. Johnny, which guitarist impresses you today? So I'm assuming he's thinking like a more like a current guy, somebody who's just new to the scene right now.
Well, I mean, it kind of goes back to, I said, when most of the music I listen to doesn't even have guitar in it. I listen to a lot of classical stuff.
Right.
So the truth is, I really don't listen to a lot of like current guitar stuff. But as far as like somebody today, I know this guy gets a lot of heat, especially from this community, because he's using the stuff these days. But Jack White.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of this band called Garbage.
Yeah.
If you know them.
Yeah, I know Garbage.
And I saw them in Mesa, Arizona on the whatever tour that was in 2002. And the opening band was the White Stripes. So I got turned on to them, however long ago that was, bought their album, and I've been a huge fan all these years. And then all of a sudden the guy's using the guitars that I like. I'm sitting there wearing the shirt,
You went from using like these Sears guitars, these plastic,
using the airlines,
the airliner, like all this, to now using Wolfgang's,
yeah. Actually, a friend of mine built those guitars for him.
Oh,
actually,
they were okay because they looked like just the authentic from back in the day, like the Sears catalog guitars.
The Wolfgangs. I mean.
Oh, you're talking about the Wolfgangs.
The new ones, the
old ones.
Yeah.
No,
huh? Oh no, I'm sure his old guitars are. I'm sure they're the actual ones.
Yeah. But one thing with what I find about with Jack White, he just strikes me as one of those people that he's just a true musician. You know what I mean? Like I think you could hand that guy a bag of potatoes and he can make music. You know what I mean? He just seems to be one of these guys.
Well, see, that's what I like. That's what I like. I like potatoes. And that's why I always kind of say, I play the guitar, but I love to make music. I love to create music, and I just happen to play the guitar.
Right.
But if I had my way, which I guess I could have, actually, when I was a little kid, I wanted to play in an orchestra. That's what I wanted. That's what, to me, that's what I wanted to do. And then I discover Eddie Van Halen, and then I got to do this,
Yeah.
But if I didn't play the guitar, if I wasn't, in the rock music, I'd be playing classical piano, or I'd be playing a cello in an orchestra somewhere. That's what I would be doing.
Yeah. Dave Byron asks you, Johnny, what's your favorite way to record, and do you sell your music?
My favorite way to record, I record a million different ways. I've got so many different, which, I mean, we've got the technology now. I've got apps on my phone. I've got studios on my phone where I can just hit record and just play, But as far as actually like putting stuff up to sell, you're saying, asking if I sell.
Yeah.
I started out using Cakewalk way back in the day. And then from there, I started using something called Cool Edit Pro. Cool Edit. And then from there, I started using Adobe Audition, which I still use. I still use Adobe, although I'm thinking about getting into what's the other? What's I just learned all about it. There's another system. Excuse me, or another program. I can't think of it. But yeah. Yeah, so let's just say I record using Adobe Audition or whatever that version is that I use. And then yeah, I've got stuff up on iTunes and Amazon and all that stuff.
Someone's asking you about your stage name. What's the backstory on your stage name?
My stage name?
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's it's kind of a joke. It's kind of a joke because ever since I was a kid, you know, all through school, I always got, you know, Johnny Beane. That, you know, in drama class, Johnny Beane, man, that's a great name, you know. Yeah. And so when I started doing, you know, internet talk show kind of stuff, you know, I just kind of started joking around that, you know, Johnny Beane is a stage name. It's not my real name, although it is my real name. But a lot of people don't believe it's my real name. People think it's made up.
Think it's made up?
You know, actually, I went just a couple weeks ago. I went to a store, and I had to show my ID to somebody for some reason, right? And they're like, Johnny Beane. They're like, is that your real name? They started laughing. They're like, Johnny Beane, and they started laughing, reading my name, and I'm sitting there thinking, what's going on?
What's wrong with my name?
And he's like, man, is that your real name?
Yeah.
That's a cool name, man. Yeah. You know? And when I first jumped online back in the year I jumped on in 98, but 1999 is when I first got into, you know, AOL and whatever. Yeah. I think in the year 2000 is when I first got the domain for my name, just Johnny Beane, johnnybeane.com.
Right.
You know? And I was like the only Johnny Beane back then. Now there's like a million of them all online, you know? So not every Johnny Beane out there is me, but most likely if you Google, you know, my name, if you're looking for me, you can find me. It's very easy to find me online because I'm everywhere. I'm on like every platform of anything, almost everything there is, because, you know, when this is what you do, you kind of have to, you know?
Oh, BV Ninja is asking if the software you were trying to remember, was it Final Cut?
No. No, it wasn't Final Cut. It's just another recording.
Oh, okay.
Recording thing.
Someone was asking if you think that amplifiers are going to become obsolete.
No, I don't think so. No, you can't beat a great amplifier. You can't beat. Maybe some cheaper stuff. Maybe.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you use any of that? Like when you're recording, do you use any like the Helix or Kemper or any of that stuff?
I've never used either one of those. I've seen them.
So you make your stuff.
I've seen people use them. I've got real amps that I use, but I also use some of the what's it called? Positive Grid, maybe. Some of the stuff within the iPad, you know.
Okay.
Like the virtual amps and effects and stuff.
Right. Okay, the plugins, yeah.
The plugins and stuff. But yeah. I got to take a phone call real quick. Just take me a second. Real quick.
Go for it. Do what you got to do, brother. Okay, so you got my melon on the screen for a couple minutes. If anybody's got any other questions, if you want to, you know, for Johnny or for myself, fire away. If there's anything that I neglected to or forgot to ask Johnny, let me know. Johnny a guitar hack. Was it Q? Okay, I'll ask if it's Cubase BV Ninja that he was referring to. Play a riff. I'm all played out thrash metal. I played like 6 hours on Saturday, and I had another 2-hour rehearsal yesterday, so I'm all played out. I got no riffs left in my hands. You can ask me on Thursday. Maybe I'll have something to play. Yeah, play a riff.
Cool.
I asked them for questions. They're asking me to play a riff. I had a marathon gig on Saturday. I don't know if have you ever done 2 gigs in a day, like I played 6 hours on Saturday, and then another 2-hour rehearsal yesterday. So I'm all out of riffs. I need a couple of days off the guitar right now. So, have you ever had those marathon sessions, Johnny?
Probably.
Where you kind of want to step away for a little bit.
You just I mean, it's a lot easier these days to remember stuff because everybody documents everything now. Like, this is being recorded. This will be online forever. You know, there's Instagram, there's all that stuff where, hey, look at me. I'm about to do this. I'm about to eat a sandwich, So everything's easy now to remember. Back before Facebook and MySpace and all that, it was a little harder to so I've probably played shows like that, but
marathon shows. So I got a couple of questions here. Ben is saying great show. Thanks, Ben, appreciate it. BV Ninja, I want to hear some. Okay, he's talking about that Jamathon thing with over the weekend with Steve Vai. Yeah, he was mentioning that. Dave Byron is asking me how my gigs went on Saturday. Dave Byron, the first we played at 2 in the afternoon. Only had about 20 people, but when we played it at night, the bar got pretty full, so it was good. Absolute Mayhem. This is kind of funny, Johnny. Absolute Mayhem lives about an hour away from where I was playing on Saturday, and he was. We had like this big long break between sets, so I got on the YouTube, and I think it was Metalax was doing a show. He was doing a live stream, so I pop in. Hey guys, how's everybody? And Absolute Mayhem starts asking me, where are you playing, this and that, what time? So I'm giving him the address and everything, and he actually came to the show, which was really, really cool. Never
That's
met
awesome.
him. Yeah, he showed up. Now, that first time I met him, what a fantastic guy. We just had the best time, between gigs, or between gigs on break time, breaks, we were talking and shooting the shit. Just fantastic guy. I had a great time, and it was nice enough to record some of the show with us, some of the show, and he's asking me about telling a funny story. You must have you ever played in bars, Johnny?
Oh yeah.
So he's asking me to talk about. So did you ever get the drunk girl that kind of stands in front of you and keeps talking to you, like you can hear what she's saying, and then spills her drink and almost knocks over a PA speaker? That ever happened to
you? Every night.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what happened Saturday. So the PA speaker was on a stand kind of, pretty close to my head, and I see it kind of wobble, right? And I'm like, oh my God, because if that thing hits the floor, it's going to hurt somebody real bad. And fortunately they find a way to get her out of there, because she was going to hurt herself or somebody else. But typical bar stuff that happens, Everybody has a good time. Had a blast. Okay. All right. So you're cool now?
Yeah, I'm cool.
You're cool.
What time is it though? It's 11.
Anytime you want to wrap it up, brother, just let me know.
Okay, we can go. We can go like 10 more minutes. Sorry, I've got chickens. I don't know if you guys know. I've got chickens, and they ran out of feed, and I have to get them. The place closes in like 45 minutes. So I
like I said, Johnny, I mean, this, like I said to you before, this is an absolute pleasure to have you on. And it's great for me to learn more about you, and people in the chat, they're all commenting, oh, I didn't know Johnny does this, and I didn't know Johnny that. So it's kind of cool, because again, like I was saying, I said this earlier, when you're doing like a round table, like a group thing, you don't really get to know anyone individually because everybody's just kind of, you know, throwing stuff in. So that's why I like doing this sort of one-on-one thing, you know, to kind of, you know, actually find out, you know, some of the background of the people that that are on the YouTube. So, okay, you know what? So, I think we left off with you in Florida with Desmond, and then you said you moved back to California. So what happened once you got back to California? Once you got back home?
The first thing I did when I got back to California is I cut my hair. You know, believe it or not, I had long hair.
Okay.
I had like the Ben Coombs. Believe it or not, you guys.
Oh, wow.
I had long hair. You know, this was, you know, the 90s. This is rock. You know.
Right.
And then after I came back, I'm like, I just want to be in a punk band. You know,
Oh.
I just want to play simple, stupid guitar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I cut my hair. I bleached. Yeah, I had blonde bleached hair. You know, you know, camouflage jacket, which I still wear today. Actually, I don't know where it is. Back there. And was just playing bars, you know, playing, and then the girls would come up and puke on you, and you know, all that. I've seen all that.
Never had that happen.
I've had beers spilled all over my guitars, everything.
That's happened.
You know, but yeah, I just wanted to just play and have fun,
right?
You know, so I did my own thing for a while, and then I started another band for a while. It was a rock, kind of a hard rock band.
Mm-hmm.
And then I joined another band for a little while. I was playing with like 3 different bands at one time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up joining. I get a call. See, this happens every so many years. I get a phone call out of nowhere saying, "Hey, Johnny, you know, we love you. We want you, you know."
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I get a call, and it was for this band. This band, I can say, I will say the name. This band was called the Mayfire.
Mm-hmm.
And they were from Los Angeles, but they had just moved up to San Francisco, and it was a singer and a drummer. That was the band, basically. And then they got a bass player, and then they had a guitar player that quit. See, this is what always happens. The guitar player quits, and then somehow they find me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I end up joining this other group, and I'm thrown right into touring.
Wow.
And so we actually toured more than anything. We did a national tour, actually sponsored by, at the time, was called MTV Trace, which was the Spanish MTV channel.
Okay.
So we end up doing a national tour with these 2 other major label bands.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just showing up city to city in a van, you know, playing bars, playing theaters. You know, I'd say the biggest place I ever played was this theater in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
The thing was, I can't
Remember
even.
the name of it?
I don't. I know there's a Chicago theater. It wasn't that, but it was another theater. It was almost like a rundown theater that like kids took over or something, and had these shows, and it'd be like all these different bands on the bill. And we were in town. If any of you guys live in Chicago, we played the Metro, which is a pretty big deal in Chicago. All the major Foo Fighters, you know, all the major bands play at this place called the Metro.
Yeah.
You know? And so we played a show at the Metro, and we get somebody at the show says, "Hey, do you guys want to, you know, we're off tomorrow. Do you want to play a show at this theater?" So we end up playing this show, and the place, I can't even tell you how big the place was. It was insane. It was insane. I have got one picture from the show. I've posted it before. If you guys see the picture and see how big the stage is, how tiny I am on that stage, you know, But the one thing I do remember from that show is, you know, you have your amplifier behind you.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a little 212 Fender that I use in a case. It's just on wheels. You know, you wheel it in, take the top off. There it is. Mic it.
Right.
You know, we were so far apart on stage, you know,
Couldn't hear yourself.
you couldn't. Yeah, it was the total opposite from two nights before, playing in a basement somewhere where you're all, you know, playing like this.
Yeah.
Because you're all smashed together.
Yeah.
You know?
And you can feel the air on the back of your legs.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, this theater. Anyway, I remember we had a couple songs, or like the ending of, well, we had one song where we would hit a couple chords and then stop and then start again. I remember stopping and then hearing the sound hit the back of the venue and then come back to the stage. So it was like dun, and it was like zzz, it was the most insane. I can't explain it unless you've played, you know.
That would throw off your timing too, wouldn't it?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, it was cool. It was so cool.
That's awesome.
But yeah, and then it was cool walking through the crowd later and having all these kids. Hey, you were just on stage, you know. So I'd be giving them my guitar picks and stuff, you know.
Yeah. That's cool.
Signing autographs, signing CDs. People show up to shows with your CDs and stuff, and you're signing them, and and it's weird. It's definitely it's strange because, you know, these people don't know that, oh, you're just I'm a normal person too.
Yeah.
You know, I go home, I do my own dishes, whatever, you know. But when you're on tour, when you're on stage, you're seen as like a superhero or something.
Yeah.
And these kids or people or whoever, they look up to that, and it's. But I'm the same way though. I go to shows and I'm like, oh, and I'm thrilled to meet, you know, my heroes and bands that I like, and I know at the end of the day they're just normal people too, you know.
Like, the cool thing is when you do meet them, I mean, assuming they don't believe the hype that they are superheroes, but if they're not, when they're normal people and they come off that way, that you know, that makes them even cooler to me.
Yeah.
When they're just regular folks, you know.
Yeah. We're all just regular people.
Yeah.
But you know, it's cool. It's all good. It's all cool, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So these days, are you still playing with bands, or are you spending most of your time now just doing your own music? Recording things. I saw you post something, this is a while back, a live thing, like you were playing at some awards party or something.
Let's see, that would have been in Oakland. Yeah. That's one band that I'm in.
Okay.
And they're you know, based 2 hours away.
Wow.
You know, so yeah. But yeah, every year we play this Oscars party, a viewing party.
Right.
It's held in a warehouse, in an art warehouse in Oakland, in like this industrial kind of place. And yeah, we show up and they've got you know, the TV on the screen, a projector of the Oscars, and during the commercials we play live music.
Right.
Play the songs. And so a lot of those videos, this year I posted them to my channel, my YouTube. So they're up. Just go back to, I think it was this February. You can see some of those videos. The thing is though, you know, with commercials, you know, you don't always get through a whole song.
Right.
So we'll start the song and then play, and then maybe, you know, the end of the song, we just have to like do our own ending because the show comes back on. And
is it covers that you're playing?
A lot of covers and then some original stuff. That's with a band. It's a singer, songwriter, piano player. Her name is Therese, but she goes by the name TC. So actually, if you go to musicbytc.com, that's her. That's her music. That's her stuff. I don't think I'm on any of that stuff. I might be. I might be on some of that, maybe, because I've known her for many, many, many years, and we've been in a few different bands together over the years. But
okay,
yeah.
So you're doing that, and how frequent are those gigs with them? Because like they're 2 hours away. So
though those gigs, the Oscars thing is once a year, and then maybe she'll have maybe a couple gigs, like over in a year where, hey, you know, we need a full band. You know, she does a lot of gigs by herself, just playing piano.
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah. And so, is there any other bands that you're regularly gigging with?
As of right now, not really. I mean, I jam with people from time to time. I do a lot of like session stuff, just like over the internet. Like actually, I just did some guitars for a movie.
Wow, that's cool.
I guess just recently, just a month ago.
So how's that work? They send you the track, and then you put your stuff on it, and you send it back because you've got all the gear, right? You can,
yeah,
and then you just fire it back to them.
Yeah, yeah. I've done tons of those over the years, and it's funny because my guitar is in a lot of movies I've never even seen.
I was just going to ask you, is there anything that any
well, I've never even seen them.
Is it because the movies are bad, or you just
no? Because I've just never. Well, I've done so many of them.
Well, what's a movie that you've done that we would know?
I don't even know. I don't even know.
You not only have you not seen them, but you don't even know the movies.
I've never seen them. I don't know what they are, but I know they're there because I hear about them.
Okay.
I hear about them, and that's why I'm doing them.
You gotta have your name attached to it somehow.
It's possible. Well, like I said, maybe if deep down within Googling, you know, maybe some of that stuff is there.
Right.
The thing is, I've actually just recently taken control of my Google. Let's say if you Google, I hate saying this, but I guess we're talking about this. If you Google my name, right there on the right-hand side, it'll say Johnny Beane, musical artist. Okay, and I didn't do that. That was made just because I've got music online or whatever. It was just there. But I recently took control of that, so I can actually change that, and I can actually make whatever Google puts out on me. I can actually control, sort of. Well, that's kind of cool. Which is kind of cool, you know.
What people are finding.
Yeah.
Well, if you want them to see something, you can make sure it's there.
Yeah. Basically, I got verified through Google, is what I did.
Right, right.
So, plus, like I was saying, there's so many other Johnny Beanes out there now. It wasn't like I'm not the only one. So,
Johnny Beane, like other musicians, or just regular?
Just regular names, regular people.
Right.
Yeah, because of Facebook, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody's on Facebook, and next thing you know, you're getting messages, phone calls. Hey, is this you? No, you want the other one, you know.
Yeah.
I know there's people out there with real common names, you know, where that probably happens all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And so I got verified with Google, and then basically, like I said, like if there's any kind of platform, I'm on it because you have to be if you're in entertainment, if you're in music, if you're whatever, you know. It's like you got to have, I've got an Instagram, a Snapchat. I still have MySpace. That's still there. Facebook, you know, whatever there is. I don't know. YouTube.
Yeah.
Whatever there is, you know. But yeah.
Cool. Cool. Okay, you know what? I don't want to. I mean, I think we're almost in 8:30 here, and you got to go get some food for your chickens.
See, I got to do real life stuff too, you guys. You know?
Oh, see, Johnny has to feed his chickens.
Although I'm probably the only one sitting. Well, no, actually, is it KB? KB Guitar Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say I'm probably the only guy sitting here who has chickens she has chickens
She's
too.
got chickens.
I know that.
Yeah, she has
I
chickens.
know that. So she knows. Kate, are you still watching? Yeah, she knows. There she is.
Yeah, get those chickens fed. She's telling you.
Yeah, I gotta get them some. I gotta get them some pellets for tomorrow morning. Is what I gotta do.
Get on that. Yeah. All right, man. I don't want to keep you. Listen, I really thank you so much for coming on. I mean, I hope everybody enjoyed the interview and got to learn a lot more about Johnny. So now we know more than he's a you're a little more than just eating tacos and talking.
Well, that's the thing though too, is, you know, I mean, you'll discover this the longer you do this kind of thing. You know, the more you put yourself out there,
yeah,
the more people you'll attract, and within that, the more good you'll get. A lot of good out of it. Like, hey, you're doing great, this is awesome. And then you'll get the, hey, you suck, you know, I hate this, you know, why don't you, you know, stop. You'll get the good and the bad and the ugly. You'll get all of it. And you have to know, you know, what's right, what's wrong, what's you know.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
And you gotta have fun. The main thing, the main reason we do this is to have fun.
Yeah.
So you gotta have fun with it. And some of that fun is keeping things a little mysterious. You don't tell everybody everything about you,
right?
But you give them just enough where they keep coming back. They want to see more. They want to hear more about, you know. And like what we talked about, that's just the tip of the iceberg as far as, you know, anything. You know, we left off, you know, 10 years ago as far as anything I've done, you know.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I said to you too. I mean, if there's stuff that you don't want to mention, you know, that's cool.
Well, yeah, like I said though, you know,
expose you, you know.
I do these things myself all the time, so I'm used. I know exactly what to say, what not to say, what to show, what not to show, whatever. And just the main thing is just keep it real, you know. Don't get too, you don't want to get too weird on people. But you want to have fun, and you can definitely you'll know when people are digging what you're doing, because you'll know. You'll just it happens.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the advice. Like I said, John, I've only been doing this. I mean, I've had a YouTube channel for a long time. I just used to put like gear demos and stuff. Just whenever I bought something, I'd post something. But I've only really started doing the live streaming, and really since the summertime, like July. So I'm really new to this. So, but yeah, like so far, it's been a lot of fun, and that's why I do this, and do these live streams, and that's why I like talking to people like yourself. It's fun. It's just fun to find out about people. But as soon as it stops being fun, of course, like anything else.
Well, same thing about real quick. Same thing about YouTube is your YouTube channel. You never know where it's going to go. You know, I mean, dig back on my channel. I've had my channel since 2006. You know, I've got, how many years is that? I don't know.
12 years.
12. I've got 12 years of history on that channel, and it's always changing. You know, you never know what direction you're going to go in. You never know. You know, it's like a hit song. You never know what's going to be a hit. You just take everything that you know, you learn, throw it against the wall, what sticks. You know, and just have a great time. And just keep doing it. Whatever it is, keep doing it. Try something new. Don't be afraid to experiment with something.
Yeah.
Unless it's illegal, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, nothing illegal.
But yeah, cool. All right, I gotta go. I got split.
Brother. Okay, thanks again, Johnny.
Thank you, man.
Cheers, man.
Thank you. Really thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. And johnnybeane.com. Check it out. What's my channel? johnnybeane.tv goes to my channel, my YouTube. So there you go.
Okay, take care, man.
All right, I'm gonna hang up. I gotta go.
Yeah, go, man, go.
Okay. All right, see you guys.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
So that was Johnny Beane. So hopefully you guys found out a little bit more about him. I'm gonna sign off here too soon. I just wanted to make a couple of quick announcements. I'm going to be going on Thursday. I'm going to be Ben's co-host for his Thursday episode of Connects with Guitars. I'm looking forward to doing that, and it's a real honor. Ben asked me to do that. Thank you so much. Looking forward to it. I will be posting a date hopefully soon and doing another one of these types of shows with Dave Byron. Yeah, and so as soon as I find that out, I'll post that live event, and that's about it for now. Announcements wise, I'm not going to be doing my regular Thursday show because I'm going to be going on with Ben. It'd be silly for me to go on and then go on with Ben right after, so I'm just going to save my melon for Ben's show on Thursday. So hope you all enjoyed that. Everybody's saying goodbye to everybody. Awesome show. Thanks, Scott Nickerson. Glad I subbed. Thank you for subbing, Scott. Dave Byron. Okay, good night, guys. Dave Byron, Ben Coombs, Thrash Metal, Amanda. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody, for checking it out. EJ. Okay. All right. I think I'm going to cash out, folks. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you haven't subbed to my channel, please do. Please press like if you like what you saw. And say hello to my friends. Sub their channels if you haven't. And we'll see you all on Thursday night on Ben's show. All right. Take care, everybody. You have a good night. Cheers.